So today we are going to cover the causes of World War II. The main cause that we covered yesterday being the Treaty of Versailles and how harsh it was against Germany following World War I. And that is going to help lead to the rise of the Nazi Party under who? Adolf Hitler, because he uses the Treaty of Versailles to rise to power by talking about how terrible it is and how Germany needs to ignore it and go back to being great. The code's up there, XONAHC. Okay. So you are going to need to label the countries on your map, and you need 3 different colors because we are going to be coloring in the spread of Nazi Germany. So where do you think we're going to start coloring? In Germany, because that's where the Nazis got started in 1933. So we are going to cover 3 different expansions. We're going to cover the expansion in 1933, the expansion in 1936, and the expansion in 1938. Okay, before ending today's lecture, and then we'll pick up again with it tomorrow. All right, how are we on labeling our countries? How's that going? All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. So today's lecture is going to cover the road to World War II. Okay, we know the causes of World War I under mania with militarism, alliances, imperialism, nationalism, and the assassination of Franz Ferdinand, the Archduke of Austria-Hungary. But now we're back for a sequel. So in this lecture, we are going to review the steps that Hitler took that inevitably led to World War II. So first, we have to start in Germany. We have to start with the rise of the Nazi Party. So the Nazi Party is going to come to power in 1933. So on your map, color in everything in red. Everything in red. Now, does the Nazi regime cover the entirety of Germany? No, it does not. Okay, because you see where Germany is on the map. Is there any part of Germany that's not red? Yeah, the western side. Okay, that western side that's right next to France. What do you think that territory was? That demilitarized buffer between Germany and France. According to the Treaty of Versailles, Germans could not have any military installations or occupation of this territory between France and Germany. Does anyone remember what that was called? Starts with an R, ends with land. The Rhineland. Rhineland. Up here, if you need it spelled. So the Treaty of Versailles said that that Rhineland was not available for military occupation. So in 1933, the Nazi Party is going to come to power in Germany. They are elected to power based on complaining about the harshness of the Treaty of Versailles. So they complain and complain about how it was unfair, how Germany was left defenseless, how they're being punished for something that wasn't their fault, just like we saw in the first document we read yesterday, where Hitler gave a response to the terms in the Treaty of Versailles. And his response was that we shouldn't have to follow this, that the Weimar Republic signed it, but his government, under his rule, did not sign the Treaty of Versailles. So what do you think Hitler's going to start doing with the terms of the treaty? He's going to start ignoring them. Exactly right. So in 1933, the Nazi Party establishes the Third Reich. It's up here on the board. R-E-I-C-H, the Third Reich. This is a Reich to last 1,000 years. So did Hitler have long-term plans for Germany? Absolutely. So on your map, you should have colored with one color all of the territory of Germany shown on the map. Does that include Prussia? Yes. So make sure that you've covered that little part to the north of Germany, to the north and to the right. All right, good. Also on your map, you should make a color key. So the color that you chose, whether that's pink, yellow, red, orange, you need to key that as what year? What year did you just color in? 1933. So if you use yellow, make a key that says this yellow stands for German Nazi territory in 1933. Because after 1933, we're going to be adding more colors to the map. So next, in 1935, Hitler is going to start pushing the boundaries of the Treaty of Versailles. He is testing to see what the League of Nations will do in response to his expansion. Okay, so first up, he doesn't invade any land at this point on the slide in 1935. Instead, he starts breaking the treaty within Germany. Now, what did the treaty say about having an air force? Germany couldn't have one. What did it say about conscription in the military? Couldn't have it, right? Because the purpose of the Treaty of Versailles was to stop Germany from ever waging a world war again. And so they cut their military, they cut down their navy, they eliminated their air force, and they told the German government, the Weimar Republic, you can't have these things. So what does Hitler do? He has them, exactly right. Is this violating the treaty? Yeah, so this is his first test of the Treaty of Versailles. He is testing to see how far he can go before the League reacts. So the League does react by condemning Hitler, by condemning how he's breaking the treaty. But he's going to claim that he needs to break the treaty. He's going to claim that Germany needs an air force and they need a military. Why? To protect themselves. They need defense, right? They're not allowed to have offense because of the treaty. But he says, okay, fine. We don't need offense, but we do need defense. So you have to allow us to at least have this standing army and at least have the Luftwaffe in case anyone wants to try and take our territory. So does the League back down? Yeah, they condemn Hitler, but do they do anything else? No. So how is Hitler going to take this? He's going to push for more, right? If you give a mouse a cookie, or if you give Hitler an air force, right? They will just ask for more and more. So that's in 1935. In 1936, Hitler is going to be even more aggressive. He is going to invade using that military that he just built up. And so he is going to invade the Rhineland, that territory on your map that's a part of Germany, but wasn't colored in. Now, according to the Treaty of Versailles, could Germany, don't color it in yet, could Germany move military forces into that buffer? No, because that's against the what? The Treaty of Versailles. But again, is Hitler testing his limits? Yes, he is becoming more and more aggressive. In 1935, he just built up the military. He didn't do anything with it. But in 1936, now he's using the military that the League of Nations did nothing to stop. Okay, so he is going to be more aggressive, move into the Rhineland, and the League, once again, are they going to step down and put Hitler in his place? No. What are they going to do? Yeah, they're not going to do much of anything, right? They say, hey, that's against the treaty. You better cut that out. But do they actually enforce it? No. Okay, so this is going to encourage Hitler. This is going to encourage his ambitions to expand, because is anyone really stopping him? No, he's been breaking the Treaty of Versailles, and have there been any consequences for him as of yet? No. So the League isn't really stopping him from breaking the treaty. Okay, so he is going to go even further in the breaking of this treaty. So on your map, go ahead and color in with a different color the rest of Germany. The rest of Germany. And what is that territory that you're coloring in called? The Rhineland. Should you make a key for this territory? Yes, whatever color you assign to the Rhineland, you need to write the year 1936. So Hitler has built up his military. He is expanding German territory, creating living space or Lebensraum to support the German population. But he needs allies, he needs friends. And so he is going to enter into military alliances with Italy and with Japan. Now, Italy and Germany were both fascist. Okay, the Nazis are a fascist regime. They are authoritarian. They very tightly control the government and society. And they really, really, really hate communism. Okay, so communists, socialists, how are the Nazis going to treat them? Badly. Are they going to put communists and socialists in concentration camps and torture them? Work them to death? Exterminate them? Yes. So the Nazis and the Italians under these fascist regimes are against the Communist Party. So how do you think they feel about communist Russia? Not so good, right? So don't confuse fascism and communism. Are they one and the same? No, they are the antithesis of each other. It is fascists versus communists, not them really working together. Okay, so Germany sides or allies with Italy. Okay, Benito Mussolini, you may have heard of him, but then they're also going to ally with a non-European country. They are going to ally with Japan. Why Japan? Why do they get to make an alliance with a European power? They have defeated Russia in the Russo-Japanese War of 1904, and they're able to do that because they rapidly industrialize. So with that rapid industrialization, if they want to keep industrializing, they need raw materials. So that means that Japan starts colonizing. Has Japan become an imperial power? Yes, in Asia. Does Germany want to be an imperial power? Yes, in Europe. So they come up with this pact. Number one, Japan and Germany are against communism. They make a promise to try and slow the spread of communism from specifically Russia. Okay, so they agree to slow down communism, but they also agree on who gets what continent. Japan gets what? Asia, and Germany gets Europe. Okay, so the Nazi Party and the Japanese Empire side up together, and they are going to form what's known as the Axis powers. So y'all remember how in World War I you had the Triple Alliance and the Triple Entente? In World War II, you have the Axis powers and the Allied powers. So on Axis side, you have Germany, Italy, and Japan. Who do you have on the Allies side? Britain, France, and then eventually who comes in after Pearl Harbor? The United States. Okay, So and Russia is also going to be on the Axis powers after Hitler tries to invade Russia. Or sorry, the Allied powers. Russia is going to be on the side of the United States, Britain, and France. Okay, because again, remember, Nazis are anti-communists. Okay, so we start seeing the development once again of a world war through the use of alliances. Italy and Japan side with Germany. So if Germany gets in a war, guess what they're going to do? They're also going to get in a war to help Germany. Exactly right. Are we good on this slide? All right, so the next part of the treaty that Hitler is going to break is the union of Germany with Austria. We know that after World War I, Austria-Hungary broke apart into different independent countries, and the Treaty of Versailles said that under no circumstances is Austria to merge with Germany. But did they share culture and language and identity? Yeah, in fact, where did Hitler come from? Did he come from Germany? No, he came from Austria. So the Treaty of Versailles said, don't you do it. Don't y'all combine together. You are separate. But what is Hitler going to do anyway? He's going to combine them together. And this union is called the Anschluss. That's fun to say, right? I'm probably mispronouncing it. It's German. You just have to say it real angry and it works. So Anschluss means union. The union of who? Austria and Germany. So in 1938, Hitler is going to propose the union with Austria. Now, what does the League do? Yeah, they condemn it. The League of Nations says, hey, it says specifically in this treaty that you cannot do this. But Hitler says, hey, I have an excuse. Did he have an excuse in 1935 when he built up the Army and Air Force? Yeah, what was his excuse in 1935? Yeah, they needed to defend themselves. His argument in 1938 is that the Austrian people voted to join Germany. So this is democracy. If this is what the people want, I'm just here to fulfill their wishes, treaty or not. Okay, and so once again, the League is going to back down. So does Hitler get the Rhineland? Does Hitler get Austria? Yes. Does he get away with breaking the Treaty of Versailles? Absolutely. Okay, no one is standing up to him. So go ahead and with your third color in Austria. It is below Germany. And then make a key, because what year did the takeover of Austria happen? 1938. Exactly right, 1938. Has the war started yet? No. Hitler's going to keep taking land. He's going to invade Czechoslovakia and take the Sudetenland. But the war doesn't start until Hitler invades what country? Poland. All Poland wants is to exist. But they are going to keep getting invaded. Germany, despite the Treaty of Versailles, is going to merge with Austria. What was Hitler's excuse for that merge? Yeah, that Austria voted on it. So it was a part of democracy. And who's he to stand in the way of democracy? Now, all right. So we colored in Austria and we labeled it with what year? 1938. So yeah, 1938 was the union with Austria. Then we moved to the Munich Agreement. This was also in 1938. So Hitler has gotten away with everything that he's wanted to do so far. He has taken the Rhineland and militarized it. He has taken Austria and added it to the German territories. And so he is basically encouraged to continue his ambitions of expanding Germany as an empire, as the Third Reich. So in 1938, he is going to set his sights on the Sudetenland. Now, the Sudetenland is a part of Czechoslovakia. Do y'all see Czechoslovakia on your map? Okay, so Czechoslovakia kind of pushes into Germany. So does it kind of make sense why Hitler would try to take part of Czechoslovakia? Yeah, and that's going to be his argument. The German people need Lebensraum. They need living space. They need more territory, hence why they took the Rhineland back, hence why they merged with Austria, hence why Hitler now in 1938 is demanding that Czechoslovakia gives up this territory, the Sudetenland. Now, this is significant because in 1938, when Hitler says, give me the Sudetenland or else, this is the first time that he is using force as a threat. Did he use force to take Austria? No. Okay, and so this is the first time that he is going to say, hey, if you don't give me what I want, I'm willing to start a war. Does anyone else want war? No, because have they just had a war? Yeah, how bad was that last war they just had? Extremely bad. It was a total war. It was devastating. Millions died. It was trench warfare. So nobody really wants to have a sequel. Okay, so this is going to lead to the Munich Agreement at the Munich Conference, where a policy of appeasement is going to be followed. What does that mean? Yeah, they're going to give in to Hitler's demands. Has the League of Nations already been doing this since 1933? Yeah, they'll condemn Hitler. They'll say, oh, bad Hitler, but will they ever do anything about it? No. So the same thing's going to happen here with the Munich Agreement. Hitler claims that if the Sudetenland is not handed over to him by Czechoslovakia, he is willing to use force. And so at this conference with Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain, they're going to give Hitler exactly what he wants, the Sudetenland. Now, Neville Chamberlain was the prime minister of what country? Can venture a guess. Britain. So Neville Chamberlain was the prime minister of Britain. He agrees to the Munich Agreement. In the Munich Agreement, Hitler gets the Sudetenland because he's going to pinky promise that if he gets the Sudetenland, he won't ask for anything else ever again. He'll finally be happy and he'll stop expanding. Germany just needs a little bit more space, just a little bit more Lebensraum. I promise that after we get this from Czechoslovakia, we're done. We won't take any more land. Okay, does Neville Chamberlain believe this? Yes, because what do they want to avoid at all costs? A war. And so they agree to this agreement that Hitler gets this territory because he pinky promised that he won't ask for anything else. That is the policy of appeasement. That is why Neville Chamberlain claims that this agreement will give them peace in our time. Now, spoiler alert, does it? No, the policy of appeasement fails. 6 months after this agreement, what's Hitler going to do? Is he going to stay in his lane or is he going to continue to expand? He's going to continue to expand. He is going to invade Czechoslovakia. Now, is that the opposite of what he promised in 1938? Yeah, but in 1939, he is going to break that promise and invade Czechoslovakia. So the policy of appeasement fails. Okay, so we're going to watch this video where Neville Chamberlain talks about this agreement to the British public. How do you think the British public is going to feel about this agreement? They're going to like it because what do they want to avoid? War. They want to avoid war. So they are happy when Neville Chamberlain comes back and says peace in our time, because what does everyone want? Peace. Exactly right. Y'all, they're literally going to be yelling hip hip hooray. I've never in my life seen that before until now.
Minister has come back from his third and greatest journey. And he said, with the settlement of the Czechoslovakian problem, which has now been achieved, is, in my view, only the prelude to a larger settlement in which all Europe may find peace. This morning, I had another talk with the German Chancellor, Herr Hitler. Here is the paper which bears his name upon it as well as mine.
Oh,
Some of you perhaps have already heard what it contains. And I would just like to read it to you. We, the German Führer and Chancellor, and the British Prime Minister have had a further meeting today and are agreed in recognizing that the question of Anglo-German relations is of the first importance for the two countries and for Europe. We regard the agreement signed last night and the Anglo-German naval agreement as symbolic of the desire of our two people never to go to war with one another again. We are resolved that the method of consultation shall be the method adopted to deal with any other questions that may concern our two countries, and we are determined to continue our efforts to remove possible sources of difference and thus to contribute to assure the peace of Europe.
and then 6 months later, what is going to happen? He is going to invade Czechoslovakia. So here on this map, we see Czechoslovakia by this point in 1938, after the Munich Agreement. Are we going to color in all of Czechoslovakia or just the Sudetenland? Just the Sudetenland. Okay, so just the crust of Czechoslovakia. So look at your map and color in with a different color than one you've already used, the Sudetenland. And then on your key, put the year 1938. So 1938, he agrees to just take that small crust of Czechoslovakia. But 6 months later, Hitler wants the whole thing. Okay, so Hitler is going to break that agreement on that he made with the British Prime Minister. It is this breaking of the agreement that wakes up Britain and their ally, France. Hitler promised, he pinky promised, he wrote down on a piece of paper that he was not going to take any more land, but he has been used to getting away with getting what he wants, because every single time that he's broken the Treaty of Versailles, does anything happen? No, the League of Nations backs down and they let him do what he wants. So, policy of appeasement, has it worked? Absolutely not. The policy of appeasing Hitler and his ambitions has failed. Because if you give a mouse a cookie, they want more. If you give Hitler the Sudetenland, they want all of Czechoslovakia, right? And so this policy fails. As a result of realizing that their policy of appeasement has not worked, Britain is going to step up and say, okay, it might be time for war. But they're not going to declare war over Czechoslovakia. they're going to give Hitler one more chance. Okay, if he invades anywhere else, what's Britain going to do? Start a war. Does anyone want that? No. So they're giving Hitler one more chance to stop World War II from happening. Are we good on this slide? So what are we going to color in with a different color now? The rest of Czechoslovakia, which to y'all doesn't exist. When I grew up, Czechoslovakia was still a thing. Now it's the Czech Republic and Slovakia. Okay, so you're going to color in the rest of Czechoslovakia with a different color. And then what year are you going to put on your key? 1939. 1939, 6 months after the Sudetenland. We good on Czechoslovakia? All righty. So Britain makes a threat. Britain says, hey, Hitler, if you invade Poland, we will respond with military force. We will defend Poland from invasion. They want Poland to remain independent, free of Nazi control. Y'all, during the 1900s and onward, all Poland wants is to exist. Okay, they just won't let them exist. They are constantly getting invaded. So 1939, Britain says, Hitler, this is the line in the sand. If you cross this line, we will fight you. Now, Hitler isn't really concerned about the British, right? Because y'all saw their prime minister, right? He was like waving a sheet of paper and he's like, oh, peace in our time. He's a lot more worried about the Soviet Union, because who's in charge of the Soviet Union at this time? Stalin. Okay, scary man, scary mustache, right? So Stalin of the Communist Party in Russia is in charge of the USSR, and Russia is incredibly powerful. So Hitler is more nervous about the Soviet Union when he invades Poland than he is about Britain if he invades Poland. But he really, really, really wants to invade Poland because, of course, everybody does. So how does he get around this? Well, he eliminates the Russians as a threat. He eliminates them by making an alliance. Exactly right. So this is the Nazi-Soviet Pact. In 1939, Hitler and Stalin pinky promise that if Hitler invades Poland, Russia will not rise against him. This is a non-aggression pact. If Hitler invades Poland, Russia will let it happen. Now, what does Russia get in return for that? They get half of Poland. So they are basically going to go halvesies on a country. So looking at this political cartoon, who is the groom? Hitler. Who is the bride? Stalin. What kind of message do you think the author is trying to send by making Stalin the bride in this marriage? Okay, not so much. Yeah, it's showing Hitler as being the leader in the relationship during this time period. You have to do it in the context of the time period. Okay, so he's showing Hitler as the leader, as the mastermind. And is this kind of demasculating to show Joseph Stalin in a wedding dress and a veil? Yeah, holding flowers. So it's basically giving the message that Stalin is being controlled by Hitler. Now, if you look at the bottom of that political cartoon, wonder how long the honeymoon will last. Okay, so the honeymoon after a wedding is when you're super duper happy and you're super sure about your decision and everything's great, right? Do honeymoons last forever? No. Okay, it's the shine of a new relationship, but eventually can things go bad? Can eventually you break up? Yes. So is the author postulating, okay, that this agreement will end badly? Yeah, that at first it's good for both Germany and Russia, but eventually someone's going to break that promise, especially if you consider the political backgrounds of those countries. Germany at this time is a totalitarian state based on fascism. Who do they really hate? Communists, right? And Joseph Stalin is a leader of a communist country. Okay, so already doesn't look like this marriage is going to last for very long, but it does get each country what they want. Hitler doesn't have to worry about Russia because he signed a non-aggression pact that allows them to split Russia amongst themselves. Okay, so Hitler is going to invade in 1939, September of 1939. He is going to invade Poland, and he is going to win incredibly quickly. How long is the invasion of Poland? According to the slide. Yeah, like 2 days. They start on the first, I guess if you count the first, second, and third, that's fair. Okay, so they invade Poland, and Poland gets occupied extremely rapidly. And this is because of a new tactic that the German army is using, the tactic of blitzkrieg. Blitzkrieg is German for lightning war. Okay, so if you say something is lightning fast, that means really fast. So this war, this conquest of Poland is going to happen incredibly rapidly through the use of new technology that came about in the Second Industrial Revolution. What technology do you see in that image? Tanks. Is that going to be helpful for waging a very fast and successful war? Heck yeah. What else do you see? Planes. Yeah, Luftwaffe. They are going to drop bombs not only on military installations, but also on civilian territories. Okay, centers of industry within a city, homes within a city. So this is going to be a very rapid conquest of Poland. Now, in relating this to current events, there's currently a war going on in this front, in this theater, between Russia and Ukraine. Now, when Russia invaded Ukraine, did they expect a lightning war? Yeah, the Russians expected to take Ukraine within a couple of days. Is that what happened? No. So the Russian attempt at a blitzkrieg in Ukraine is unsuccessful. But the German attempt in 1939 was successful. So they very rapidly conquer Poland. As a result, Germany has crossed a line set by Britain. Britain said, if you do the thing, what are we going to do? Declare war. So Britain declares war on Germany. Well, guess who is Britain's ally? France. So France declares war on Germany. So Germany declares war on Britain and on France. Does Russia declare war on anybody? No, because what did they just get? Half of Poland. So go ahead and take your last two colors. You're going to color in 1/2 of Poland being for the German side and another half being for the Russian side. Which side do you think is going to be German, west or east? West, because it is closer to Germany. And the eastern side is closer to Russia. So World War II starts in 1939 with the invasion of Poland. Exactly right. This is what triggers the Second World War.